meeting of January 28th, 2013 to order at 7 p.m. Everyone please rise for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk call roll, please.
Stirrup.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Here.
Wallach.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Cooper. Here. Audie.
Here.
Okay, everyone has the agenda in front of them tonight. Are there any additions or deletions, or is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I'll move that the agenda be approved as presented.
Motion by Mr. Ballard. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Audie. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any citizen comment on non-agenda items? Any citizen comment? Hearing none. We have no presentations tonight. Administrative reports. There are F&V reports and a treasurer's report. Mr. Stirrup?
Chuck, would you like to start?
I really don't have much to say because it's been 2 months, but not a lot's going on.
Yeah.
If you notice in there, I think we've got a handle on the false alarm situations. We had the programmer out and he did some resetting of the computer, and it's for the last 2 months. We haven't had an alarm call out, so I think we have that well in hand, hopefully. Our flows are still low, as you can see in the report. Why, I don't know. Other than
All the snowbirds are gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer that, I know Chuck and I have talked about this, that the DEQ, made us, in a way, go through all this when our flows have gone down so much. They were looking at data from the highest rain event year in history. I mean, we got some low flows. And if you look at the report, one day they got an alarm because there was no, it was very low in one of the tanks.
Yeah, we actually had
There's nothing to put in them. Obviously today there's a lot of flows in the last day or so, but there's still no reportable problems. It's unfortunate, but there's still things that need to be fixed, so don't get me wrong, but it's just, you're looking at the flow data and making a decision. That's unfortunate now that our flows are so low. I also wanted to add, and I'm not skipping the schedule of bills, but I just wanted to point out to the people at home, on the schedule of bills, we have the water bill, water/sewer bill for the plant, and they're both minimum bill $70.26.
Yeah.
So the sewer plant, sludge billing and grit, so we went from approximately $18,000 a year, and now we got minimum bill $70. So again, congratulations to Chuck and Brian from the time United Water, but now F&V for really saving us a considerable amount of money. And all that equipment we paid for definitely will be paid for itself. Will be paid back through savings.
Awesome. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, that's all I had. Anything else? Any questions for Chuck?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Everyone has that in front of them. It's the approval of the regular council meeting minutes of January 14, 2013 and payment of bills. Is there anything anyone would like to pull, or is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I'll move that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Motion by Mr. Ballard. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Clark. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. We're on to old business. And the DDA minutes from 2011-2012. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none. Village clerk's your agenda item.
Well, it's not really mine, but Mr. Conan said he was going to talk to the DDA in the last meeting. And I'm just going to let him talk.
Okay, I did send them an email. I got an answer that they would be getting us the minutes. I think we spoke last Thursday or Friday. You hadn't received them.
No.
I will give them another one. But, that's all I can tell you.
You called also.
I did. I called. I also called and talked to Robin just to reiterate that I'm not looking for, I only want approved minutes.
You want approved
I
minutes,
just
correct.
wanted them to understand that's what I'm looking for is the approved minutes, but, and she kind of said to Stephen, she says, you haven't got them yet? I said, nope, so I'm not sure where they stand, I haven't heard from anybody.
So you can keep that on that old business until we get them.
Okay.
Just
Well,
so
and
you
as soon
know,
as I do get them, I'll let you guys know too. I'll bring it back to that meeting.
if we do get a FOIA, we have no means of getting any information regarding that FOIA, which could be a big problem.
Yes.
So just if you could
I
expedite the
believe that-
process a little bit, that would be great.
Well, I tried to, I
Should we
think
put
the
a deadline on it?
DDA haven't used the FOIA themselves at times,
Yes,
haven't
they
they?
have.
So I know they're very concerned about FOIA requests because they've made them.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't mind expediting that a little bit, that'd be great.
I mean, would council like a formal letter sent
I think that would be,
um, from us?
You know, I think that'd be a really good idea.
And who should I send it to the chairman or should I send it to their secretary?
I would say send it to the
Or
chairman.
to the whole board?
The whole board.
Yeah.
They're gonna be meeting, I think, when, February
Fifth, I
5th?
think.
Well, that'll make other members say, why am I getting this and what's going on?
Exactly.
I mean,
Send it
we've asked and it hasn't
attention
happened, so.
to the chairman and also to the,
CC the rest of the board.
well, attention to the chairman and the secretary, and then CC to the rest of the board.
Okay.
And I
Dave,
guess
if
you
you
should
don't
also
mind.
CC the council members here because you're doing this on behalf of the council.
Okay, I will, I'll probably have Sherry look it over, maybe I'll send it to you too, just to be sure that everything's in there that you want in there. I mean, are you comfortable with?
I'm pretty comfortable
Okay.
asking for approved minutes.
Okay, all right, I can do that. Tomorrow.
Do you want her to put a deadline on it?
Well, their next meeting, if there are minutes that have not been approved, they should be brought to that next meeting for approval. I personally, I'm not sure how you go back and approve minutes, especially the ones from 2011, if those haven't been approved yet. Maybe they have, I don't, have minutes that show that.
Now, I had requested that they move that meeting because I cannot make that meeting the 5th of February, and that I have not heard back from.
Okay.
But as part of the same correspondence, I know that it was received.
Okay, well, and the biggest thing is about moving the meeting is making sure that it's posted
Yeah,
within the proper amount of time, so, okay,
I haven't got an answer.
And the
to
Open
that
Meetings
part.
Act applies to the DDA, correct?
yes.
Yeah, DDA planning
Any
commission.
board
any of
planning.
them.
They don't have
CBA.
to, they don't have to publish their agenda though.
No,
They
do
just
not.
have to say they are having a meeting.
No.
They don't have to publish their agenda.
We really don't have to publish our agenda, we just do that. I mean, that's just a past practice that we've
I
always
thought
done.
I thought
We-
we had to post. our-
No, we have to post when the meeting is. And we have always posted it. It's not something that I would be interested in changing. I don't think any clerk would be. But as long as your meeting date and time is posted, the agenda is,
Unless
I don't
there's
know if it's a
change.
formality, but it's
Well,
it's something that should be done.
Convenient.
Well, no,
I
I think
was,
it shows in public what you're doing.
What I was informed, and this for some are different, is that we post the agenda so the citizens of our community
Know what's
will
coming up.
know what's coming up at a meeting. And that gives them the opportunity,
To
if
show
they
up.
want to come up and say whatever they want on that subject. And that was also the reason that I was given that we should not be adding non-emergency items because the people would not have an opportunity to see that.
No, I don't
So
disagree.
that if that doesn't apply, then I guess I don't care if we had these emergency.
No, I don't
non-emergency.
disagree with it, I just don't know that
Yeah.
it's a law. I don't know that it's in
Yeah.
the law that you have to do it, but we have
I would
always
appreciate if you
done
just
it.
found, because I always thought that was,
And I think it's a practice we should continue.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
well, again, now, naturally, not a lot of people necessarily pay attention to that, but there are some times.
Yes, they do, there are
You know,
people that do.
and I think the citizens have the right to know what we're gonna be
Absolutely,
discussing.
yep, I do not disagree. And I could be wrong on that, Dave, but I don't believe that it's in the act that you have to do it. But it does, irregardless, we've always done it. I don't think there's ever even a reason to discuss.
And that's why we
not
tried,
doing it.
we tried following the rule that we won't make a motion on something the night it's presented, especially when it wasn't on the agenda. We've been doing very well on
Yes, we
trying
have.
to live up to that
I
standard
will-
for the citizens.
I will say that the planning commission posts their agenda every time, but the Friday before the meeting. The DDA does not. always. It's not that they haven't, but it's not always done, so.
Okay,
but-
any other comments? Hearing none, next agenda item are the 5-year plans. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Okay, we have received, well, this is your agenda item, would you like
No,
it?
it's not. No, it's just because I put this together, so.
We received 5-year plans from majority of council. Those that haven't, please make sure you get those to us before our budget meeting starts so Joe can plug in the numbers and make sure everything's all ready to go so we can have the very productive budget meetings and get those figured out. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none. Next agenda item under new business, engineering of downtown sidewalks. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none. Street Administrator Ballard, this is your agenda item.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say that it is time for us to start planning our engineering of the downtown sidewalks. That's what we commonly call our sinking sidewalks, or the bad sidewalks in the business district up there. I have some preliminary figures on it, and but tonight I'm going to make a motion, and I would like to resolve to allow Giffords-Webster engineers to begin engineering and the bidding documents and bidding process for the downtown sidewalk repair project. That's my motion, man.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Ballard. Is there a second?
Support.
Is it you, Mr. Clark? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
What is this, Lucy?
I know,
It
it's,
sounds like you. I have to look up.
any other discussion?
Yes, before we vote.
Yep.
We currently have $5,054 left in our CDBG account. If we were to do this with CDBG, preliminary construction estimates are about $11,000. If we do it without CDBG, the current construction estimates is about $8,800, $8,900. That's been prepared by Giffords-Webster. Now, why does it cost more for us to do it?
Because they have to do prevailing wages for
Because they have to do
CDBG.
prevailing wage.
Yeah.
And I have asked the question at the county planning, seeing as though Michigan is now a right-to-work state, what is prevailing wage? And I have not gotten that answer yet.
They probably don't know yet.
They don't. So, do we want to do this with CDBG or don't we? Okay, if we would, basically, if we did it with the CDBG funds, it costs us about $6,000.
I was gonna say, that's that 11,000
Right.
less the
Right.
5,054.
Right. So it's gonna cost us about.
That would eat up our CDBG that we have to spend by December of next year.
Can we do that with this CDBG money?
Yes.
Okay.
I will say that with like 98% confidence, because that was part of the original plan, was to fix those sinking sidewalks. So that's already been prepared, and that was part of the project. So the project is still open.
2%. We got 2%.
Margin there.
2%, hey, you know what, every time I'm 100% sure and I call them, somebody shoots me down.
Shoots you
So
down.
I just try
Okay.
and, I would say yes, we're pretty good on that.
Can we use it for engineering?
I believe so.
Maybe we use it for engineering first and then construction
Well,
after that.
because
I-
our professional services
Maybe.
on that, they also prepare a cost estimate for professional services that include surveying, engineering, documents, bidding, advertising, construction, administration, and construction inspection.
Right,
And professional services is not to exceed $7,360.
so we could use it all for engineering.
Right.
Prevailing wage wouldn't even fall into play.
Correct.
That's what I'm thinking.
That'd be a lot more advantageous.
Yes, that would be more advantageous, I do agree. So anyway, but tonight, I want to give them the go-ahead. Okay, we can figure the money out after we get it going, because
You have to know for the bid. You're gonna do.
you bid it.
Yeah,
Just
you have-
anybody
you
use
have to do
prevailing
You can bid
wages or
it two
not?
ways. You
You
can
gotta
bid
bid
it
it
with
two
prevailing
ways.
wage and then
Yeah.
without, and then
Sure. Then we
figure it
just
out
choose
later, after we hear back from
So,
Peter.
Right, but either way, we can still use CDBG for the engineering, is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
I think that'd be,
Again,
Who knows? Yeah, we got that margin
90%
there.
sure.
Okay.
There was no room,
I am committing to nothing.
there was no more room left for administration charges, such as planning commission.
Right, but I don't,
Engineering
that
doesn't
doesn't
fall
include
under that?
engineering.
This falls directly
I
with
don't
a
believe so.
project,
Under a
a
project.
construction
Okay.
project, maybe
Yeah.
that's the difference.
And because we have this money already assigned to the sidewalk project, that was part of the sidewalk project also. It was included in the initial project that we put in.
Right.
Just because we didn't do it doesn't mean it came out of the project.
And why do we think we can avoid the prevailing wage? Isn't the project as a whole, doesn't that have to be a prevailing wage
If it's
project?
CDBG, it does.
So
But if it's
engineering,
not-
you can't apply the 5,000 to engineering and go with the lower cost.
Why
Because the
wouldn't you bid it out
project,
separately though?
huh?
Why would you bid it out separately?
But isn't
That
the project
the
has to be a
engineering would be
Davis
one-
Bacon project?
Oh, I don't know about that, that's,
That's what we're gonna find
I
out.
will
That's
find
why
that
we
out.
wanna bid it out both ways and see how it's
God
gonna
bless
go.
you.
Okay?
Mhm.
That's all I have.
Okay,
okay. I will call.
any other
Carrie.
discussion or questions? Any more questions?
Not yet, I'll probably
Okay.
have several, I'll call you with later.
All right.
When I'm on the phone with her.
So we have a motion by Mr. Ballard and a second by Mr. Clark. This is roll call. Okay, spending money.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
It's not, it's not gonna hurt. Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Body,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Hooper,
yes,
Stewart.
Yes.
motion passes. Thank you.
I will, if this doesn't, if we cannot do this CDBG, I will bring it back to the next meeting and we'll discuss it there.
Good.
Okay, next agenda item is the MDOT policy. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, Street Administrator Ballard, this is your agenda item.
Thank you. We received notification that MDOT has a new policy, and it is through the engineering and construction of how we do our projects. I read it over, and let me tell you, it's Greek to me, so Andy is very well versed in it, so I'm gonna turn it over to him.
Yeah, it's actually a policy that came down from the Federal Highway Administration to MDOT, to all the communities. As of October 1st, 2012, any street project that you are doing with federal funds, they're enacting this conflict of interest guideline policy. So it's kind of, you can read it several different ways, so I've had several conversations with MDOT to try to figure out exactly how we can get this worked out best for the village and for everyone involved, really. What it is that they're saying that if you are the village engineer and you're getting money from the Federal Highway Administration, then you cannot do the preliminary engineering on it, or you can't do the construction engineering on the project if you're receiving federal funds for that portion of the project.
You have to pick which one you're gonna do.
Well, they're saying that the village, if they wanted to have the village engineer do the whole project like we normally have done in the past, that the village would have to pay for that portion of the project. So
The
they
federal
would-
money won't pay for it.
The federal money won't pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So where that falls into line is basically in the 2014 East Main project,
Okay.
just for example,
Mm-hmm.
is that we had estimated the whole project at $900,000. That included engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that the village portion of 20% would be $180,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we gave you an estimate back in 2010 to do this of $115,000. So I'm gonna place another call into MDOT and see if, since the village is paying that $180,000, if that would act as a portion that they're just paying for the engineering. So then you wouldn't have to hire at least one, maybe two more engineering companies to oversee this whole project.
So we would be applying our 20% that we have to pay
To the
to something
engineering.
specific.
Towards something
Okay.
so specific, which I think is probably the best route to go. I mean, obviously, I'm all with avoiding any conflict of interest, but I want to make sure that the village is taken care of as well as possible, because that many more engineering firms, that many more consultants adds that much more cost to every project. So, but that's basically where the update is right now.
Okay.
Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions?
Well, haven't we in the past, we've paid the engineering
We have
portion?
paid, correct, not using federal.
We haven't used federal funds to pay for the engineering.
Correct, and this was just applied in 2012, this new conflict of interest.
So isn't that just what we've been doing?
I believe so, but now they have this whole policy, so we just wanna make sure that we're, that
Not-
the village is adhering so that you guys don't get stuck with
With a
any
huge
extra
bill.
money.
Right,
you know.
because I know that came up with the Spicer, was that they said that we should have had 2 engineers on it, and it would have alleviated a whole lot of that headache that we had.
That was a suggestion, because it
Correct.
wasn't a,
Yeah, it was when we
lab.
sat down with
Yep.
them at their office somehow.
Yeah.
So, okay, perfect. You'll keep us abreast of what comes out of?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
all right, perfect. Anyone have any other questions?
Well, just to go, excuse me, just to
Sure.
go back, I mean, there's already been some engineering done on this road, correct? I mean, when we did that quickie thing, they thought they were gonna do stimulus funding again, and you guys shot topo and,
Yeah, we did surveying on it, we haven't really done any
Okay.
engineering on it.
all right.
I mean, that kind of falls in the same realm, but I think we would just have to tell them.
So if anything, I mean, we've kind of paid a portion, at least the topo
I think
portion
we've done a
of
portion
that.
of the work, I'm not sure if we've actually
Okay.
billed you for any of it yet, trying to figure out.
Okay, I just wanna bring up that some money has already been spent on this project.
Yeah, I think
Right.
And how it gets
we did
divvied
pay
up,
that.
I don't know with this coming in.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to let everybody know.
I thought, you know, roughly off the top of my head, around 10 grand.
Isn't it?
But yeah.
So let's find out how far back it's.
Seems
Yes,
like-
it was.
Seems like that's roughly that, but I just wanna make sure that, that we,
It was a lot.
That we don't do something twice.
right,
Right.
that we've already taken care of some part of it. However it gets broke up, I don't know, but I just wanna make sure that we're down for it.
Yeah, I think we would definitely keep them abreast of that and
Okay.
say that basically we have this existing topo, so any future engineering doesn't need
To have that.
doesn't have to survey it, we're just gonna use one that we have.
And we've already paid that, so
And
maybe
they're
that
good
goes,
for
maybe
how
that
long?
goes towards the
They were
other
good for like 5
thing we
years.
have to
Yeah.
pay.
As long as you
Right.
don't change it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it was around 30,000 or
Because I remember that was a
40,000.
concern of doing it that far in
I don't
advance.
remember it being that much, but
I thought it was
10
high.
seems to.
I thought it was
If
10.
you could look at that.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
them on here.
All right,
Okay.
perfect.
It was 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, anyone have any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Next agenda item, engineering for East Main Street reconstruction. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Street Administrator Ballard.
Thank you.
Item.
Been brought to council because I believe it's time for us to get started on this. We can get some, I believe we do have some pricing that we've already been quoted for the engineering for the East Main Street project.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Didn't we just say it was 115?
So, with that, I would resolve to allow Giffords Webster Engineers to begin engineering and bidding documents for the 2014 East Main Street reconstruction project.
Motion by Mr. Ballard. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Clark. Any discussion?
Lyle, did you add bidding process in there too, like you did the other one?
No, but I would like to,
Okay.
bidding documents and bidding
Bidding
process.
process.
Is that okay with you, Mr. Clark?
Yes, it is.
Okay, any discussion? Yes, Mr. Stern.
You know, it's been a couple of years since we did the engineering, and we got a lot of projects coming up. Does anybody feel the need to maybe consider doing that now? I mean, we have $5-6 million in projects.
Well, that would be more appropriate than in the middle of anything, so.
How do we know, my question is, how do we know we're getting a fair price? And I'm not an engineer. I hate to turn to Steve, who is our engineer in practice. How do you know if you're getting a fair price in today's market?
Well, we have brought in the cheapest price before and we weren't particularly happy on,
Yeah.
on some jobs, but yet, you know, it's not, no matter what you do, it's not all apples to apples.
I know.
And you're right, Everybody walked out of here saving lots of money before and bragged about it, but it didn't work out that way at all.
I know where you're coming from, Mike, but I mean, we've gone through process, I've lived through a couple different processes, so have you, Dave, Lyle. We've interviewed engineers, we've hired them, we've had them for a number of years, and then we've switched. And this, I don't want to go through that process right now. I think you have to trust who you have and look back at previous projects they've done and say, did it work for you? Are you happy with it? And continue. I just don't want to, and I know we got a lot of stuff coming up. That's why you bring it up.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm not ready to do that.
But you made the point about, you know, they've done 2 projects referencing Holwig and Spencer. The Holwig Street looks like crap. You know, there's almost a speed bump in front of, what's her name? No,
I know who
Holwig.
it is, but,
It's like the 3rd house
Yeah.
in from my street. I mean, it's like a speed bump.
yeah, I didn't.
You know, I mean, I think the Holwig project wasn't a very good project. Spencer, the road seems nice to me. So you're really only batting 500 outside of the sidewalk project. The sidewalk, I think, went very well. But as the road, to me, they're 500.
There's a few things, as far as I'm concerned, with Spencer Street that I'm not happy with yet. And the thing is that there should have been more follow through or inspections at the time and not be delayed. And then the last day of the project, when they supposedly was through, they loaded up their equipment at 4 o'clock and they took off. And I was told by one of them truck drivers that they was going to Fort Ewing. So it was more important to go there than to finish our job and then come back, a few weeks later. I don't buy that. So I think there should have been some hammering on some of their heads and getting it done. And I think that was part of the engineering. I don't mind saying it.
Go ahead, Trey.
I've been a proponent of bidding things out ever since I got on council, and no one's ever supported me on it. I wanted to bid out our $800 garbage contract, and everyone told me no. I've wanted to bid out our phone, everyone's told me no. I wanted to bid out our CPA firm, who we've had for 50 plus years, and review that. And I believe you told me that sometimes it's best to stick with the firm that you trust. Well, do you trust Giffords-Webster? Because what I'm, you know, no one's ever wanted to bid anything out here before, so I'm really, you know, kind of shocked that, is there some kind of pricing or something I don't know that hasn't been brought to my attention?
No, the one my dealing with Giffords-Webster was a couple months ago on the S2 grant.
Okay.
And that's when the lift station wasn't specifically outlined, and I told Scott to add it. It was added, and then my price went way up. And I had to threaten to pull the project because they're sitting there jacking the price up over something that should have been included in the initial proposal. So my concern with Giffords is that they're after the money. And I want to make sure that that's not what's happening here in these proposed costs to us. How do we know that we're getting a fair price?
So Mike just mentioned, we've gone through a few major projects. South Fulton, North Fulton, the sewer plant, the subdivision. And the council hasn't been happy with any of the engineering firms. Whoever we have, there's still plenty of complaints about them. I'm not disagreeing with anybody, but I've sat here, I heard it about the sewer plants. Those guys didn't do a good job. Me and them didn't do a good job. We had Row over here, that wasn't good enough. We had these guys over here. Spicer, that wasn't good enough. We have these two, and that wasn't good enough. I don't know who you guys want to quote. Because you certainly don't want to quote the guys you've been complaining about all this time.
My thinking, Dave, and council is this. I've worked with Giffords-Webster and I've worked with Rowe. I was a sewer commissioner when we did South Fulton Street. And what I got out of rural engineering is they were on the job. If they had a problem, they handled it. If it said it was gonna cost us a little bit more money, and the only thing that I can think of where they brought to me on that street was the extra manhole they had to put in because sewers didn't line up. They couldn't find how deep they were until they dug it. So I said, okay, we'll go ahead and dig it. I stood there with their field engineer and the contractor. I said, how much is it? He said, $1,200. I said, I can approve that much. Go ahead, put it in. The reason we did that, and I brought it back to the council immediately at the next meeting and said, yes, this is what I had to do, so we're gonna have an overage. Well, when it all washed out, I think the sewer bill was still under budget on that. So I think we did very well. One thing that we need is we need an engineer out there that's going to be that has the ability and has had the tools in his hands before that says, no, this is how it's going to be done. Don't bother this council. Don't bother this council. This is how it's going to be done. Over here, I had 4 people over there. That's all I had complaints on. Complaints. Finally, I told them, I says, it's not going to be paid for until it's right. I says, I'm not paying an extra dime on it. Well, it came out, what, $1,200 under budget? Good deal. Even so, we had to replace a couple driveways over there because they weren't put in right. Giffords Webster stuck by us. Okay, I saw that. But the thing that I didn't like about the Spencer Street project is I got calls every single day. When I hire a construction manager, an engineering firm as a construction manager, they're going to manage that project. And they're going to bring it in at budget or under budget. That's their job. That's what I want. When I dealt with Roe, you knew where you were coming from with Roe.
Yeah, we got kind of spoiled with Sue. She
Right.
was on
Well,
it.
we got kind of
But yeah.
spoiled with Roe.
Council had a lot of, I thought she was great, but there were others on the council that complained.
Yeah, but we're on the council. My feeling is this. We've got this project coming up here. We've got East Main coming in 2014. If we go with Giffords Webster in 2014, fine. If we want to change and bring in another one, let's bid the engineering out for the 2015-2016 project. This is getting too close.
Yeah, I was
This
gonna
is
say
a
at this
big
point,
project.
I don't know how that would work with all the work that's already been put into it.
Right.
Well, there's topo was done.
No, I mean, even all
The preliminary.
Well,
the grant that we got,
Right,
you know what I'm saying? I think, you know, I mean, I only worked with Giffords closely on the sidewalk project, and yes, not one iota of a complaint from that. But my thinking is when the grants are ready to be prepared, that maybe that's the time that you, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't.
Well, I know when we did North Fulton, Spicer was saying their engineering costs were gonna be 89, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was around 89,000, something like that.
90,
And we ended up paying 40 some more than that. So if you look at that number and the amount of that project to this one, it's about the same. So I don't think, I think maybe the numbers are equivalent. I don't think what we're looking at a whole big difference. You know, I know project and scope wise, I imagine it's probably about the same between the two projects.
Things come up though, just like they did
Yeah,
over
they
here.
do.
You
Right.
don't know that
You
they
don't know until
Right.
you.
Right.
No,
dig
till
up
you
the
get
road.
into
dig it up.
underground.
That's right.
Right,
You know, the best laid plans are like, whoops, where's all this stuff?
Oh,
right.
there's another road.
But you were
Whoops,
told about
But
it.
How do
the
we-
question is as to whether we, you know, we ended up paying that other 45. If you add that to the 89, that's about where they're saying, and I'm sure Andy is not going to be coming to us for another $40,000 after the end of this project, right, Andy?
I'm sure.
I'm sure of it too, right, Andy?
Andy? So, I mean, if you look at that, I mean, it's about
Timing
the
and feathering
same.
is legal, isn't it?
Yep,
I mean, because everyone was saying that
Timing and
Spicer did
feathering.
not include things in there that they should have included.
that is correct.
So if you look at that, this number, you know, that's the only thing I'm thinking.
And I have nothing but wonderful things to say about Rowe. I don't. I mean, working with Sue, working with Doug, working with all of them, I did nothing but wonderful things to say about them either. And I wouldn't compare the two myself, but the projects that we've had since we've switched engineers, the only one that I had to deal with specifically was the sidewalk project, because we have such great commissioners that handle the rest of them. So.
How would you propose going about it? Do we?
Well, we would have a motion on the table now, so we have to vote through the motion right now. And then if that fails, then we look at the other option.
What's the motion? Can we read it back?
Yep.
It's to allow Giffords Webster Engineers, I'm sorry, Lyle, did you want to read it?
I can read it.
Okay.
Yes, because I've read it too.
Sure.
Resolve to allow Giffords Webster's engineer to begin engineering and the bidding documents and bidding process for the 2014 East Main Street reconstruction project.
That's the motion made by Mr. Ballard, seconded by Mr. Clark. Is there any other discussion? Should we go with the vote? Okay, roll call, I believe, right?
Ballard.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Audie.
Yes.
Woollott.
Yes.
Stewart.
No.
Cooper.
Yes.
Conan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I think with that said and done, I'd just like to think that, you know, there would be some really due diligence with the engineering company, with no offense.
Now you understand though, that the engineering company is not the company that's doing the work. And sometimes the problem can lie with the contractor you choose.
Absolutely.
Which I think there were some problems over here.
The government chooses,
Yes.
not us.
Somebody can lie with the contractor. That is not the engineer's fault.
Right.
For us, it's easy to take the shots at the engineer, because if you don't feel it's right, well, it must have been their fault. They should have known that wasn't right. But, you know.
But it's their job to manage
Yeah,
it.
but you, again, in the
Yeah.
subdivision, you put regrind in, you didn't? You know,
Right.
we did things to control costs there. That could have some effect.
Did you want to put it under new business and review it again? Or
No, there's a motion passed.
For
No, but
Well,
I
mean,
think,
any future projects.
but I think you can set it up for the 216 or the
Exactly.
what Lyle said, and what you would like, then.
Oh, we have the bridge project, we have,
The
I mean, we're gonna be
sewer.
looking at
That's true.
sewer, which could be in the millions, you have $1 million in water pipe, you have 2006, I mean, you're talking, like I said, $6-7 million in projects coming up.
Okay, if we know the project, you know, when that project is, I don't mind, if you want to bid them,
out the
especially the
engineers
sewer, if
first.
that's what you would like to do.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. I'll take your, go with your lead there. But I'm just saying, every time we have a project, somebody's shooting at the engineer. At least that's been my experience sitting on this council. I'm not necessarily saying the individual sitting at this table, but Steve, do you recall everybody being 100% happy with anybody here?
No.
The sidewalk project?
Yeah.
I'm happy with the sidewalk project.
Yeah, we were all happy with that one.
I'm pretty happy with that South Fulton project. I
South
think as a
Fulton,
whole, that's
yes,
been a great project.
It has.
I think right now North Fulton's going pretty good.
Now.
Yeah, now.
Well,
Don't talk to me 2 years ago. I was not happy.
listen, you weren't happy.
I was not happy.
But I think also the inspector was out there on our part, in other words, doing the work for us. And I think that some of the stuff he should have caught. And I really think there was some stuff missing.
Mhm.
Maybe not all, but there was some stuff missing.
Definitely.
I'm
So,
not disagreeing with you, Marv, at all.
well, I hope you don't.
I'm not. I'm with you.
All right, are we all done with that agenda item? Any other discussion?
Yeah, East Main, you can't cut down any trees. No trees in the.
You keep the books, I'll run the project.
No trees
Yeah,
cut
you
down.
can't replace those 200-year-old trees.
Yeah.
Okay, next agenda item, PA 152 compliance. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, village clerk, this is your agenda item.
Okay, just like we did last year, the Economic Vitality Incentive Program, which is EVIP. Last week, we had to put our consolidation plan together, which President Cooper brought forward. This is another facet to that, which is the
Last facet.
yeah, which is the employee contribution into their health care, which last year we did the 80-20. Their contracts are set up for the 80-20. They need, the state Treasury Department needs a motion from this council along with this form to send in. So I prepared your motion, which was what we did last year. It doesn't start until April. My thought process is next year when we have to do the consolidation plan again, I'd like to do this portion with it so we don't, I don't ever want this to get missed, you know, and if we don't get it on some kind of schedule where it's all done at the same time, you run the risk of missing it, and that affects your Act 51 monies, and the state will automatically revert this to the hard cap rather than the 80-20 if you don't say you want the 80-20. So I'm just looking for a motion
I
to.
got one quick question though. Do we have to add down there sign on somebody's behalf? You know how normally we read a motion on something like this and you add that?
Yep, you could.
Who's signing it?
I am.
Okay. I'll make a motion to comply with Public Act 152 of 2011 by continuing the 80-20 option for the village's contribution to the cost of the employee health insurance effective April 1st, 2013, and authorize the village clerk to sign on the village's behalf.
Motion by Mr. Sturt, is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Ballard. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Sorry, was that valid?
Yes.
Come on, keep up.
No, I had to laugh because I put for the clerk to sing on the village's meeting.
Oh,
Trust me, you don't want
we'll get
that.
money that way.
No, you will not.
Okay, that is it for the agenda items. Are there any upcoming agenda items that we should add?
PDA minutes.
Okay. Any other upcoming agenda item?
I'm gonna bring an ethics ordinance forward next meeting, or want to talk about it.
Okay. And you'll talk to Michelle about what that entails and see if you need any motions brought forth by
Absolutely.
Jeff?
I don't know if there'll be
I think we
motions.
just
Yeah, I
wanted
think
a
it's just
discussion with
discussion.
Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Because
All
Jeff
right.
will be here.
Perfect. Are there any other upcoming agenda items?
What? No?
Nope. Any other?
Well, I'll just bring back that if the CDBG stuff, if the county tells me to get to it, but I don't see it happening.
Hearing none, any citizen comments? Any citizen comments? Hearing none, any council comments?
Madam President, I wanted to bring up two things. You know, I'm not questioning the schedule of bills, but I noticed two charges on there. One was the water bill for the downtown sprinkler, $116. I know we're not talking a big dollar amount, but October, November, and December, I think, is the term of this water bill. I don't know why we're watering downtown. In October, we should have stopped the watering by then, in my opinion.
I think we can stop after the fair.
I mean, this should really be a minimal bill, if anything.
Just have to ask Ed if leaks got fixed. I know when they
Okay.
did some works and stuff got tore up.
Okay, well, and that's the case, then so be it, but
Right.
I just want to make sure we're not watering in
Right.
the winter month.
Right.
And then my last thing was gift certificates for chaps, 125.
Yes, that, that was when we still did the gift certificates. Now, as you know, we could not do those this year. And they got turned in timely from CHAPS. But because of the amount and because we're not doing them anymore, they got
Pay 'em
paid.
out,
They
pay 'em
just
out.
need to get paid.
Those
so
are the
they're-
pre-approved ones.
Yes, they were, and it, you know, was a little bit of a discussion with the business owner in our office about that. But, you know, yes, they should have been turned in. They should have been turned in before November, but they were not. You know, they were kind enough to go into that program with us, and they were
Right.
always, you know, always
Okay.
right there.
They're
So,
not new ones.
no, they're not.
Are
No,
there-
because we cannot do them
Right.
anymore.
Are there any other ones that are outstanding?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. So we'll hopefully, well, we're done with the project or program, we can't do it anymore.
Okay.
Any other council comments? Any other council comments? Hearing none, any community events?
I might want to mention that we're having our budget meetings.
Okay, budget meeting is 5:30 before our next meeting in February, which is, what
The
is the date?
11th.
Thank you, February 11th. 5:30, it's an open meeting, if anyone wants to come and listen to us banter, you're more than welcome. And then our regular meeting is at 7 o'clock. Yes,
For the people at home, baseball and softball registration is coming up. I don't have the dates, I'm not on that board anymore, but if you don't have anything, be ready, because I think
Is
it's
that
in
what the banner
February.
is for?
Huh?
Is that what the banner is for?
I was
Registration?
contacted about that, yes.
Okay.
So they're trying to get a way of advertising for the people in the community, but if you don't get anything, contact, I think George Pretty is the name of the president.
he's the one
And
who,
he can direct you. I know they have a Facebook site, and there's probably a phone number there. They have a prepaid phone. So that's coming up. Don't forget to register your kid if they want to play.
perfect. Any other community events? Hearing none, we have no closed session tonight. The time is 7:45. Great.
Yep.
Madam President, I move we adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Clark. Can't get over that.
I can't
Ballard
even
Clark
see.
tonight.
Yeah.
All right, let's move this.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried, meeting is adjourned. I'm sorry, Gary, did you?